It was very cold in the 100-acre wood, for it had been snowing and snowing and snowing. It had been snowing so much that Eeyore, who usually lived in Eeyore's gloomy place by the stream, so as not to bother anybody, had decided that it was time he had somewhere warmer to live. So he had slowly and gloomily collected some sticks and then placed them sadly in a pile that looked a bit like a house. After that, he had gone for a melancholy wander to think about the state of things in the 100-acre wood. Later that day, he returned to where he had built his house of sticks to find that it wasn't there. Miserable and befuddled, he ambled to Christopher Robin's house. "Hello, Eeyore," said Christopher Robin cheerfully when he opened the door. "It's snowing still," observed Eeyore gloomily, "and freezing cold. I don't suppose you've seen a house or what not anywhere about?" "What sort of house would that be, Eeyore?" "My house. At least I thought it was my house as I built it. But the strange thing is, it was there when I left this morning, and when I came back it wasn't. Not at all natural." "Oh, Eeyore, that's terrible," said Christopher Robin. "We must go and look for it at once." And he went to fetch his coat straight away. Christopher Robin and Eeyore set off together, with Eeyore mumbling about he couldn't really expect to have a house, so he wasn't complaining, but it really wasn't when he could call hot at 3 o'clock in the morning these days. Soon they arrived at the corner of the field where Eeyore's house was no longer. "At least there's some snow left," muttered Eeyore. "I suppose I shouldn't complain." And at that moment, Christopher Robin hushed him and told him to listen. In the distance they could hear a deep gruff voice singing about the snow, and a small high voice tiddly-pomming in between. "It's Pooh and Piglet," said Christopher Robin excitedly. "Quite possibly," replied Eeyore. And then the words of the song changed, and they heard, "We've finished our house," followed by, "It's a beautiful house, with Tiddly-Pom in between." "Pooh," called Christopher Robin, and the singing stopped. "It's Christopher Robin," they heard Piglet say. "He's round by the place where he got all those sticks from." The friends rushed to meet each other, and when they hugged hello, Christopher Robin began to explain the sad story of Eeyore's lost house. As Pooh and Piglet listened, the eyes got bigger and bigger. "Where did you say it was?" asked Pooh. "Just here," replied Eeyore, "made of sticks." "Oh," said Piglet rather nervously, and began to hum Tiddly-Pom so as not to appear quite at ease. "What's the matter?" said Christopher Robin. "Well," began Pooh. "The fact is," said Pooh. "The fact is, you see," said Pooh, "well, he thought it might be warmer at the other side of the wood." "Warmer for what?" asked Christopher Robin. "For Eeyore's house," said Pooh firmly. Eeyore tried to say that his house had been here, but before he could mumble very much, Pooh and Piglet had led him around the corner, and there was Eeyore's house, looking as comfy as anything. "It has an inside as well as an outside," explained Pooh proudly. And just to make sure, Eeyore went inside and came out again. "Quite remarkable," he said at last. "The wind must have blown it here, and somehow it got better on the way." "Much better," said Pooh and Piglet together. And with that, leaving Eeyore in his house, Pooh and Piglet took Christopher Robin back for lunch and, on the way, told him of the awful mistake they had made. Luckily, Christopher Robin laughed a lot. A few weeks later, when the snow had disappeared and he was well and truly settled in his new house. Eeyore was plodding slowly down the stream when Winnie-the-Pooh appeared. "Good morning, Eeyore," said Pooh cheerfully. "Good morning, Pooh Bear," replied Eeyore gloomily. "If it is a good morning," he added. "Oh dear, what's the matter?" said Pooh. Eeyore explained that there was nothing, absolutely nothing, not even a tiny thing, the matter, that he really wasn't complaining, for it couldn't matter less, and that he really shouldn't be sad on his birthday, which, after all, was the happiest day of the year. "Your birthday?" said Pooh in surprise. Eeyore said that of course it was his birthday, and couldn't Pooh see all the presents lying around the birthday cake with the candles and pink icing? Pooh was rather puzzled, for he couldn't see any presents at all, or, for that matter, any cake with candles and pink icing. "I can't see any of those things," he said. And Eeyore grunted miserably and agreed. He couldn't see them either. Ha ha! Pooh scratched his head and wished Eeyore many happy returns of the day anyway. Then, leaving Eeyore to mutter about nobody taking any notice of his birthday, Pooh hurried home as quickly as he could. He felt very sad about Eeyore and wanted to find him a present. Outside Pooh's house, Piglet was jumping up and down, trying to reach the knocker. "Hello, Pooh," said Piglet. "I was just coming to see you." "I've just seen Eeyore," interrupted Pooh, "and he's in a very sad condition because it's his birthday and nobody has taken any notice. He's very gloomy indeed. We must take him a present." The two friends went inside Pooh's house, and Pooh went straight to his honey cupboard to see what he could find. He had lots of honey pots, but only one with any honey left inside. "I'm going to give this to Eeyore," he said proudly. Piglet thought for a moment, and he remembered that he had one balloon left from his party, and would go and get it to cheer Eeyore. And so Pooh set off with his jar of honey, and Piglet trotted home to fetch the balloon. It was a warm day, and Pooh began to get a funny feeling creeping over him, from the tip of his nose right down to the end of his toes. He knew that feeling. It was a feeling that told him that it was time for a little something. And, with that, he sat down and took the lid off his jar of honey. He began to eat, and eat, and eat, and as he licked the last drop of honey, he wondered where it had all gone. "Oh yes, Eeyore," he said, and then, bother, when he realised he'd eaten Eeyore's birthday present. What could he be given instead? He thought for a while, and then decided that the pot was a very nice pot, even without the honey inside, and surely Eeyore might find it useful. Pooh continued on his way, and as he was passing Owl's house in the wood, he called in to see him, showing Owl his useful pot for Eeyore. Owl said that he should write a happy birthday on it. Pooh thought that was a very good idea and asked Owl to help him, which he did, nodding wisely as he wrote, "Hippy Pappy, Butty, Tatty, Bit Huddy Huddy. A very happy birthday, with love, from Pooh." Meanwhile, Piglet had fetched his balloon and was holding onto it very tightly so that it wouldn't blow away. He ran as fast as he could so that he might get to Eeyore before Pooh, and thinking just how pleased Eeyore was going to be, he forgot to look where he was going. His foot landed in a rabbit hole, and he fell flat on his face. Bang! For a moment, Piglet wondered what could have happened. Had the forest fallen down, or had he blown up? Perhaps he was far away on the moon. Then he looked down and realised it was he who had fallen down and that his balloon had popped, and it was now nothing more than a small piece of rag. "Oh dear," said Piglet. "Oh dear, oh dear, oh dearie, dearie, dear." Now his present for Eeyore wasn't such a good one. Never mind, perhaps Eeyore didn't like balloons so very much anyway. He'll still take it to him, so he trotted on sadly to the stream where Eeyore was. Eeyore was just gazing at his reflection in the water, concluding that it was a very sorry sight, when he heard Piglet's voice behind him. "Good morning, Eeyore," said Piglet, "and many happy returns of the day." Eeyore turned around gloomily and stared at Piglet. "I've brought you a present," continued Piglet excitedly. "It's a balloon." Eeyore could feel his gloom slipping away. Now he was getting a balloon. It really did feel like his birthday. "But Eeyore," continued Piglet, "I'm so sorry, so very, very sorry. I'm afraid when I was bringing it to you, I fell over and it burst. The balloons." There was a long silence. "My balloon?" said Eeyore at last, and Piglet nodded. He held out a little piece of damp rag. Eeyore looked at it, and Piglet felt rather miserable. But Eeyore didn't seem too upset, and asked Piglet what colour it had been when it was a balloon. When Piglet told him that it had been red, Eeyore said, "Thank you, Piglet, my favourite colour." Just then, Winnie-the-Pooh arrived. "Happy birthday, Eeyore," he called. "I've brought you a present too." He gave Eeyore the useful pot, and Eeyore became quite excited. "Look, little Piglet," Eeyore exclaimed. "I do believe that the balloon you gave me will fit very nicely into this rather useful pot." Piglet looked on hopefully as Eeyore put the balloon in the pot. "There you are," said Eeyore. And Pooh and Piglet were very happy indeed that Eeyore was so pleased with his presents. In fact, when it came to say goodbye and happy birthday once again, Eeyore hardly noticed that his friends were going, for he was far too busy taking the balloon out and putting it back in again, happy as can be. What a perfect present! The end.